Let's begin. We are looking at the manner of articulation. The manner of articulation of consonant sounds. Okay. The manner of articulation is how the air comes out of either the oral cavity or the nasal cavity. You are clear about this? So we are only looking at this manner of articulation can be reformulated as a question. How? Place of articulation can be asked. Which question will you ask? Where? Okay? Where? So, how does the air come out of the articulators? Out of the oral cavity or the nasal cavity? There are only two cavities through which the sound is produced. Okay? How does the air come out? Either through the nasal, oral, or the nasal cavity. Okay? So essentially, we are looking at oral sounds and nasal sounds. Okay. So what should be clear before we begin? What should be clear before we begin? Very good. The articulators should be clear. Name the articulators. Name the articulators. Okay. Now just I'm going to draw the mouth picture, the picture of our mouth, the picture of the head, the cross section of the head cross section. Tell me, with that you tell me what the articulators are, and we will be doing something with the articulators. We'll be classifying the articulators. Let's do that first, okay? Okay, so we'll be classifying the articulators according to how they function. Not all articulators are the same, okay? So when we look at this head cross section, now when you see which part of your mouth is more mobile, or which part of your mouth is mobile, not more mobile. Which part of your mouth is mobile? Which has free movement? The lower jaw. Very good. The tongue. Okay. So shall we start naming those articulators? One, the lower jaw. The lower jaw does not come. It's not part of the articulator. So what will you? What is there on the lower jaw? The chin is not an articulator. So you have the. Okay. So you have the lower lip. Okay. Then behind that, the lower set of teeth, the lower row of teeth, the lower row of teeth, the lower row of teeth. Then I'm just looking at the. We are looking at the mobile part of the mouth, that which has free movement. Okay. Essentially, we are looking at the lower jaw to be more precise. So lower row of teeth, and then you said something. Okay, the tongue. Okay. See, again, in the Moonuthalio, out of these three, tell me if the lower row of teeth is directly involved in articulation. Does the teeth, for example, I can do this with my teeth. I'll show you. I can do this with my teeth, but is that a sound in a language? Is that a speech sound in a language? So I cannot call this an articulator. Directly, I cannot call this an articulator. So there are only two articulators, the entire lower jaw is mobile, but we will consider only these two as articulators. One, the lower lip, okay, and the tongue, okay, just these two, and the tongue, okay. I'm just drawing a line here for your convenience. We have completed with the lower part of the lower jaw. Yeah, tell me, what all is involved in articulation? Upper lip irka? Upper lip irka? Yes. Ma. Moonuthaliyum irukku. So upper lip. Okay. The upper lip. I'll write it here. Very good. The upper lip. Why do you go to short ball immediately? Upper lip. Upper row of teeth. Again, I told you a direct articulator. The other is hard palate, soft palate. Okay, the roof of the mouth. So upper lip, and then we have the alveolar ridge. Okay. Hard palate, soft palate. Soft palate. So essentially, so these two are the major articulators. These two sets are the major articulators involved in the production of speech sounds. Okay. Very good. What is this? Active articulators. So these are active opposite passive articulators. Wonderful. Active articulators and passive articulators. Passive articulators. So in the manner of articulation, what is involved? The active and passive articulators are involved. That is, in the production of sounds, you need both the active and the passive articulators. The active articulators are those which are mobile, which goes and meets the passive articulators. Okay. For these three sounds, is there any gap between the articulators? There is no gap between the articulators. That is clear. Observe. What will you call it? So, what do? We complete. There is. No, someone said something else. Okay. We bring it together. Combine. We bring these two articulators together. That is, in fact, to be very precise, the correct thing to say is the active articulator is brought to the passive articulator. Okay. So it is there. There is complete closure of the articulators. And this we call, let me introduce the term to you. STRICTURE, stricture. Stricture is the technical name for the gap between the articulators. The sounds and are produced with a stricture of complete closure. Okay? Stricture of complete closure. The next that we are going to see is the strictures, and then we will go to the manner of articulation. Technically, we'll have to look at the strictures first and then the manner of articulation. So, we'll go in for a small break. All right, is that fine? Record. Closure, am I right? Okay, we call it complete closure. So, we are going to start with the stricture of complete closure. Okay. So, in the next 20 minutes, we'll see if we can cover all these sounds. So, just observe these. I'm going to produce the following sounds and tell me, and this will be produced with a stricture of complete closure. Stricture means gap. Okay, I'll be writing that, don't worry. It has 24 consonant sounds, and we are starting with a set of sounds in which the gap between the articulators is a gap, that is, there is no gap at all. It is a stricture of complete closure. Okay, so, and we call that something, we'll give it a term. Just observe these sounds. I'm going to get you the first set of sounds. Just observe this. Okay. All right. Just observe. Now, for these two, you will be able to observe that there is no gap at all between the articulators. The two articulators involved are the two lips. The lower lip forms a complete closure with the upper lip. For third, the tongue touches the alveolar ridge. You're with me till here. For it is not observable, but the back of the tongue goes and touches the soft palate or the velum. That also is a stricture of complete closure. And the air comes out. How does the air come out? In all these six, the air comes out. Nalla gavaninga. Observe. b, th, d, k, g. How does it come out? With explosion. It comes out suddenly. So those sounds, these 6 sounds, which are produced, again, we are looking at consonant sounds, we are looking at English consonant sounds. Be very clear about it. So all these are produced with the stricture of complete closure. Stricture of complete closure. That is, there is no gap between the articulators. We call them plosives precisely because the air is released with an explosion. Is suddenly released. So a plosive is a sound in which there is a stricture of complete closure. The air escapes and the air escapes. So the indicative has the here. Plosives. P-L-O-S-I-V-E-S. Okay, and the air escapes with the air escapes suddenly or with an explosion. Okay, and it happens like this. நீங்க ரொம்ப நேரம் air release பண்ண முடியாது. You can't அப்படின்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. சொல்லக்கூடாது. Or it will be something else. Okay, it cannot be a plosive. You cannot produce a plosive, prolonged plosive and call it a plosive. Okay, so it comes out with an explosion, escapes suddenly, or with an explosion. So we call it plosives. Okay, are you clear about this? Okay, let's look at the next set of sounds. I'm going to produce these sounds. So we will be progressing from a stricture of complete closure to a stricture of no closure. You will understand this in the next 10 minutes. Okay, max. Okay, now let me produce this. These 2 sounds. Okay, I'm going to introduce these 2 sounds to you. How are these sounds pronounced? Nalla gavaninga, just observe. Cha, 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 cha. If you observe, the tongue comes and touches the roof of the mouth. Which part of the roof of the mouth? Cha and ja are what? What place of articulation? Huh? Yeah, someone said alveolar. Okay, they are alveolar. They touch the alveolar ridge. The tongue comes and touches the alveolar ridge. There is a complete closure. Nalla gavani. I am not releasing the air. But when I release the air, just as I did for this, I am not doing it here. That is, the air does not escape suddenly. There is a prolonged release or a delayed release of the air. I'm not saying cha, cha, no. I'm saying cha, cha. Even if I say cha, cha, it doesn't come out with the kind of explosion that these six sounds come out with. So there is a stricture of complete closure. Okay, there is a stricture of complete closure, and the air is released slowly. Okay, so stricture of, so there is complete closure. I write it here. Complete closure. Okay, that is what happens. The articulators create, there is no gap at all. Okay, but the air, there is complete closure, but the air is released slowly. Just nalla gavaninga, idukkum time duration endu paranga. The duration with which I produce these sounds is shorter than the duration with which I produce the sound. Nalla gavani. Ha, cha, pa, cha. I take more time to produce it. In fact, I can compare this with ta and da. Gavani. Ta, sudden release. Cha, the air is released slowly. Okay, so it combines complete closure. It not combines. There is complete closure, but the air is released slowly. So we call this affricate. These are called as affricates. Okay, A-F-F-R-I-C-A-T-E-S. Observe these 3 sounds. How are these 3 sounds produced? Nalla gavaninga. For no, there is no gap. Correct? In all these three, again, there is complete closure. There is complete closure. Only thing, there is complete closure, there is oral closure, but the air is released through the nasal cavity. Again, let me show you. So it is not ma. Even if I say ma, it is nasalized. Okay. This is how the sounds are produced. So there is complete oral closure. Complete. There is no gap between the articulators. And the air is released through the nose. Now, when we look at, we'll come back to breathing and we will see how the soft palate acts. The soft palate acts as a valve. I told you that. So the soft palate comes down, the air is released through the nasal cavity. So complete oral closure, air released through nasal cavity, through the nasal cavity. Okay. All right, people. How many? 6 plus 2, 8 plus 3, 11. Okay, so we'll what? Give it a term. Since it's released through the nose, through the nasal cavity, we'll call it. Huh? Okay, not palato-alveolar. Palato-alveolar is something else. When I say palato-alveolar, the tongue comes into question tongue. Okay, here I'm talking about the air coming through the nose. When the air comes through the nose, you're talking about place of articulation. I'm asking about the manner of articulation. How does the air come out? It comes through the nose. Appo, this is a term. Nasals. It comes through the nose, so they are nasals. As simple as that. Okay, that is from complete oral closure. We come to some sort of a gap between the articulators, or the air escapes, or the air is escaping through the oral cavity in some manner. Which will be the next sound, logically? Anybody? Yes, yes, yes. Most of you will say, sir, let us look at those sounds that are produced with hissing. Am I right? In a gap, sir, will produce that. In a complete oral closure, but there is one sound which is produced with a sort of a closure. Oh, very good. Very good. Third, இதே மாதிரி same with that is hold it people observe take minute no that's not the correct thing. With the same position of the tongue and with the same position of the tongue and the alveolar ridge, we produce the following sounds. And see, with this there is immediately a small gap. All these are alveolars. This sound is also an alveolar. But look at it, like third and end, the tongue touches the alveolar ridge. So there is closure, but it is not complete closure. How is this sound produced? For the sound ill, I'll show you a very simple thing. I'll give you a small exercise, a small task to do. It will take just 10 seconds. Hold your tongue like you hold it for ill. Okay? Will you just hold it? Are you holding it? Instead of releasing the air, suck in the air. Instead of releasing the air, I'm showing it like this because you're going to suck it in through the sides. Instead of releasing the air, suck in the air. You will feel a cold air or a chillness on the sides, on your cheeks. That is because when you release the air, when you produce the sound and you release the air, it is lateral release. So for this sound, okay, for this sound, there is complete closure. Okay, it looks like complete closure. It is not. So there is partial closure. Okay, partial closure. And the air is released laterally. The air is released freely through the sides or laterally. So the air is released through the sides. Okay, or laterally. Okay, and please remember this. Remember this for this. Okay, you suck it in. Just observe. You keep the tongue like this against the alveolar ridge. Suck it in. Suck the air in. You will feel chillness on the sides of your cheek. That is the நீ ஒழுங்கா ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்றியா இல்லையாங்கிறது அப்படிதான் கண்டுபிடிப்பார். You will find out whether this sound is being produced properly only by doing this small task. So இதுக்கு ஒரு பேர் கொடுங்க. பிரியா யா laterally நான் சொல்லிட்டேன். Lateral, very good. Lateral, it's a lateral sound. Okay, it's a lateral sound. All right. So how many sounds? இதோட 12 முடிஞ்சிட்டோமா? Now count the number of sounds that we are going to produce with a small gap in the articulators. Okay, tell me how many sounds are going to produce with a small gap. Okay, with that, and remember all these sounds will come out with a hissing sound. ஒரு hiss மாதிரி தான் வெளில வரும். நல்ல கவனி. Okay. வேற என்ன? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. There is one more that comes through the hissing sound. There is one more sound which comes with the hissing sound. Okay. So in all these, there is this is. So what will you call it? When the gap is very small, when the articulators create a small gap, what kind of stricture it is? This is a stricture of what? The articulators are the two articulators, the active and the passive are. I'll produce this again. In all these things, the articulators are close to each other. Joined, they don't join. They join only for complete closure. They touch each other only. There is no touching at all. There is not much of touching. Okay, so we call this picture of close approximation. If the two articulators are close to each other, roof of the mouth, நான் இப்படி பார்க்க சொல்றேன், அது இப்படி பார்க்கலாம், so that you are clear. ஏன்னா இப்படி தானே பார்த்திருக்கீங்க. Roof of the mouth, tongue very close. Okay, when they are very close, picture of close approximation. Picture of close approximation. The air is released with a hissing sound. Since the air is released with a hissing sound or with a friction, it is called as, these are called as fricatives. Fricative sounds. Okay, fricatives. So the air comes out with a hissing sound. So there is just one thing. இதெல்லாம் எனக்கு புரிஞ்சுக்கு சார். இது எப்படி hissing sound? இது hissing sound எப்படி சொல்றீங்க? ரெண்டாவது வருதா அந்த கேள்வி வருதா? வெரி குட். இத நான் தனியா டீல் பண்றேன். I will be talking about this. Just remind me, I'll be talking about this separately. How is it that there is you are saying close approximation? Where are the articulators? For her, articulators எங்க இருக்கு? என்ன close approximation எனக்கு சொல்லுங்க சார். நமக்கு இங்க இருந்து தெரியாது. இதெல்லாம் கிளியரா தெரியும். இத நம்ம ஃபீல் பண்ண முடியாது. But இது நம்ம ஃபீல் பண்ண முடியாது. You cannot feel it as such. But this also involves a stricture of close approximation. Okay, how many more to go? 6. Affricates, 2. Nasals, 3. Lateral, 1. Fricatives, 7. எவ்வளவு வந்து 7 plus 3, 10, 11, 13 plus 6, 19. 20, 21, 22, 24. இன்னும் 5 ஏது? நல்ல கவனி. they are produced with. நல்ல கவனி. நான் இத ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு உனக்கு இத ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணா உனக்கு புரியும். And then they are also produced with the stricture of close approximation. They are also fricatives. So fricatives are not 7 but 9. Okay. Okay. Good. So okay. So now we have 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay. Let's come to this. And I always said, I mean, right from the beginning, I mean, we have seen this from the time we started, looking at phonetics. When I produce these three sounds, R, Y, W, what kind of a gap is there between the articulators? Open approximation. Open approximation is that picture in which the articulators come together, but there is no the air that comes out does not come either suddenly like for plosives or delayed release like for affricates or through the nose like for nasals. It comes out. In fact, to be very frank, it comes out. Don't use that for your convenience. It will be like a wall. Just as we produce a vowel sound, you can produce this. Okay, but this is not like a vowel sound. This is not. You can't put this along with vowel sound. This is called as a frictionless. It's called frictionless because there is no friction. It's in sound or friction. Frictionless continuing. And under 20 seconds, yeah, work. So now you're clear. So, yeah, and work. Picture of open approximation, but this is almost one minute. The air is released. Governor, just 20 seconds. The air is released just like we release the air for vowel sounds. Okay, but they are consonants. So we call them semi-vowels. So with that, we account for 24 sounds. We'll be looking at certain sounds separately. For example, this. Okay, and I'm a bit disappointed that you were not able to find this, but good. Okay, you are able to find it. There's no problem with that. So look at this. This completes the second term. So we have two parameters. We have two ways of describing the consonants. One is place, the other is manner. We look at the third term in the next class. Okay. Thanks a lot, people. Kulra.